Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing today? What's going on? What's going on? Ah, it's Monday. It's Monday. I'm back. I'm back. How you doing? Who's with me? Um, Good morning, Mr. Ryan Turner. Good morning, Miss Jasmine. Anyone
It
else
is
out there?
Mr.
Good morning.
Rousseau, 911
What's up,
Initiative.
buddy?
Oh, is that not Crystal? What
It's a
is
new
she?
friend. Her name is Jasmine. I met her this
Jasmine.
weekend. Yeah, she's a
I knew
911
I knew it was
operator.
Jasmine. I was trying to get because she always talks or
Yeah.
she's talked a couple times about it. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. She jumped in pretty quick and pretty fast into the streams and then does her own streams and yeah. She came
That's
out to
awesome.
the Arizona meetup this weekend and she brought everyone like a little piece of custom art that she made. Um, she asked all of us our favorite characters and so she did a version with your character on it and then I think she just did a version of just like a Arizona meetup with like a cactus and a snake and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Jasmine. That's so great. I think one of the
Hmm.
best forms of sharing yourself is through art and art being a very general kind of thing. But yeah, I think like that art can definitely end up showing the depths of who you are sometimes, and that can be a very vulnerable state. That's awesome, Jasmine.
Yeah, I caught her stream. I think I want to say it was like Wednesday or Thursday before the meetup, and she had expressed that it was something that she was working on, but she was a little nervous. She wasn't sure if she was actually going to give it to anyone. Um, because like you said, it's kind of vulnerable. It's like her first piece or whatever, first shot at it. And I was very much like, oh yeah, I'm gonna ask you for it like right away because I want you to give it. I know this is the right place for you to give it to. Like I know everyone's gonna be super happy to have it, and it was a big hit for sure.
Ugh. Dom, 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 you make me feel so many great things. I love you in my life. You make me feel like I'm just never nice enough. Now, I don't like it. I don't like stepping into this thought from there, but I had I had texted Dom the question in a little group. I said, Dom, how was the Arizona meetup? Now, I feel as if I can be a little bit more cynical sometimes, or I can be a little bit more not negative, but I think I can kind of maybe find the fault in something, but not because I want to complain, just because I want to be real in the moment, and this is maybe what happened. And something like I would have said, "Oh man, it was really hot and it was crowded, but it was great that we were all together." Like that's something I would say, right? And I think that starting with that negative thought or less positive thought could definitely be, I don't know, just not really kick it off. But when I texted Dom in the group, I said, "Hey, how was the Arizona meetup?" Dom's response was, "Not long enough," which is like such right. That was I think that was your
Yeah.
I think that's like verbatim what you had said, and I just wanted to say like how pure of an answer is that, right? Because it just me like Dom wanted to be there. There was no question that he did. Like that statement, I felt like when he texted that back, I was like, damn, you need those people in your life. When you see them, it's not long enough. Like they just want to be with you more. You don't get a lot of those people in your life sometimes, especially as busy as things get. So Dom, shout out to you.
Yeah, it definitely, and I'm sure everyone else felt that way too. I mean, those of us that brought our kids, I think it was the perfect amount of long enough because I could see my kids were starting to get like to the point where they were like, okay, what's next?
Oh,
And
I
I know
see.
that my wife and son, were ready for us to come back. Like I told my wife, like 2 to 3 hours, and I think we kind of hit just shy of the 3 hour mark, or maybe a little over the 3 hour mark. And we had other stuff that we were in Arizona to do. So like it was exactly what I laid it out to be. But yeah, it could have gone so much longer. I mean, everyone there, it, everyone got to talk to each other. But I don't think anyone got to talk to everyone or got to talk to everyone enough for it to be like I'm pretty sure everyone was like, okay, when are we going to do the next one? Especially the people that like now know that they're this close to each other. And that's one of the cool things about, doing I mean, they were already talking about how Savvy's moving down in June or something. And
Oh, she really? I didn't know that.
yeah, Steven's View from Hawaii, I think, is coming out there in June or August or something like that. And I was like, oh, I think the Turner Boys are coming out soon. So they were like, "Oh, sweet! So we might potentially have 3 more meetups in the summer."
Incredible. Yeah,
And they weren't
definitely.
they weren't they weren't disappointed with that news at all. They were looking forward to it. So it's a good time.
But the Turner Boys are coming. Damn it. Um, what did your what was the uh takeaway? Did your kids share any thoughts? I feel like when you have some older kids, Dom, I feel like they can probably be able to voice their opinion or their feelings more. There were some younger kids there. Scott, oh man, I just realized I don't know how to say his name right. Jokum,
I think
Scott
it's
Yoakum.
Yoakum, yeah.
Yoakum. I think I saw he has a younger kid there, right? Looks like maybe 5, 6, maybe 7.
Yep. A
Am I
daughter,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so like what was the connection with the kids? What was there a takeaway like that?
I mean, it was a pretty easy connection in that like Scott brought minis, like a little handful for everyone to
Sure.
open. So it was
Yeah.
you saw kids opening them, trading them, showing each other the cool ones they got, and then you saw like the adults basically just because Scott basically gave a bag of minis to everyone, like a handful, and so you'd see all the adults just like give their minis to the kids, so that the kids could just keep opening, because it was definitely more joyous for us adults to watch the kids. Like I gave all my minis to I think it was Old Sailor's son, uh, JT. I want to say JT JR. He gave me his initials, and I opened some of them and would give them to him, and then he basically had a full stack of them. And Biceps came over and handed him a bunch. So it was just that was the involvement with the kids, and then they would trade back and forth and talk and chit chat. It was a good time. My girls
That's
were
awesome.
older, so my girls were the oldest ones there, and they just kind of like hung out. Funny enough, like at one point, after I got back from talking to someone, I went over to see Bailey, and she was watching a Whatnot stream of like Courtney from V Friends, and then like swiping to like a Pokemon stream. So she was like on Whatnot
It's
and just
dangerous.
laughed.
It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well, it's funny
You
because
can
like
swipe it.
if I walked down the table, like Lex was on Whatnot, like a couple of us were actually tuning into the streams, and so I just thought it was hilarious that like we're there, but we're still trying to tune in.
Yeah. Sometimes I
It's a good
feel
time.
that across our time of 300 episodes here, Jason popped up 299/300. When was that, Jason? Yesterday. So I
Hmm.
wasn't sure where 300 was. But across these 300 episodes that we've had so far, I sometimes feel like I wish we had stayed even closer to the VeeFriends ecosystem, kind of connecting the characters, kind of connecting the whole, crowd all together to, just stay true to the origins of stuff. I go back and forth, I think, sometimes in my head when I think about that. So when these moments come up and we talk about them, I feel like it feels very rich for me, and it feels like it's a kind
Oh
of
yeah.
reminds me of where everything's come from. So it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you've said all along, like it's definitely a project, and these characters are very much centered around parenting and kids, and it's gonna hit for everyone in some way, but there's definitely a heavy place for the V Friends, uh, in parenting and in
Hmm.
children, in kids' life, like seeing some of these characters go through and the kids resonate with them and the kids, use, I can't remember who, but I've heard people talk about like how, you know, the kid will say to their parent, like, Dad, you really got to be a gratitude gorilla right now and be grateful for what you have. Like a kid saying that to a parent just because of some character that resonated with them, and they see their dad in a moment where he's being maybe a little ungrateful and just needed a little pep talk. Um, it's kind of a wonderful thing. Oh, there's the vending machine. It was hiding behind the plant the whole time.
Oh, you don't. Oh, yeah. You know what? It used to be right here, but I've been trying to move things around, and I have. You know what? I feel like I had a bad internal moment. I think the last time that I went on to Whatnot to stream, it felt a little bit capitalistic. I don't know what I can say about it, but it felt like I was just there to kind of like push product, which is kind of what you like. That's why you're there. But I think it was a moment where I was like trying to kind of pull together some of my message around like health and nutrition and stuff like that. And then I was like trying to kind of, get some of this, sell some kind of stuff. I felt kind of icky in the moment. I didn't like it. It felt like it was like, it just wasn't authentic. And so I think why I'm saying that is because I've been trying to think about how I can kind of get some of this stuff moved or sold. And not because I just want to push it out there, just because I don't want to be showing my kids like this side of just collecting to collect or just kind of like hoarding to have all the around. It's just, that's something that's quite close to my heart. So I think I really do have to reconnect with the idea of getting back on stream and doing something. And I really do enjoy it when it really hits right. So maybe I'll have to do it with you sometime. We'll do it together. I'm telling you, you have to do it with me.
Whew. I don't know if I ever could do it, but I probably
Either,
should.
well,
One of these days I got.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying one of these days I got to go through and look at everything. But yes, I know there's so much. I'm trying to figure out a way to like actually put it somewhere where it's not just like sitting randomly stacked in shelves and boxes in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
Because my wife did, I did talk to her. I'm like, I would like to display this somewhere. I'm like, I'll display it in a way that you don't necessarily have to look at it all the time. And she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Take that little corner by your bed. I'm like, okay, cool. Just like a little empty corner right next to our bed.
I got to be honest, this IKEA display case is actually pretty nice, and I like it because it gives me boundaries. It gives me structure to be like, okay, if things are starting to look messy in there, which they are right now, because I had pulled out a bunch of stuff to like sell it, and I was like, okay, if it's messy in there, that means I have too many things. Like, you got to get rid of it then. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I will say, I was on with Chelsea one day talking about just some parenting stuff and money around that. But she was doing her usual gem stuff, and it was really it was mesmerizing to watch her do it as we kind of talked about some of these things. And it was a good change up in terms of what we were talking about. So it was nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I enjoy her streams. I'm still bummed that I keep missing the one with the one with you on it, or one of whatever. There was another one that she did too that I missed, and I was like, oh man, I missed that one too. But yeah,
you can get back on there. You can do it. Well, I mean, that's kind of a busy part of your day, right? That's like 11:30, right? Is that when she's always on 11:30, and then that's got to be it's kind of like a tough moment for you, yeah, when things are starting to kind of ramp up. So, what's happened? All things Daily Dad.
Yeah. So end of the month, we get a new topic tomorrow. So that's going to be cool. I know we've heard a lot about time and prioritizing your time with your kids. So it'll be interesting to see what next month is, and go on something else. But today was basically about making them your priority and just making that kind of along the lines of the last couple of readings that we've had, where it was sometimes you got to put your career on hold, or a certain aspect of your career. It's kind of, it's something that I'm doing. I'm on the fence right now, so I'm building this business, and you know, if I were to invest more time in the business, I'm sure I could grow it and have more clients, bring in more money, hire people, etc. But that's not my priority right now. My priority is to just have enough to handle our bills so that I can continue to stay as free as possible for my family. I look back at, and it's one of the benefits of having, very spaced out children, is I can actually, think I can remember back 16 years where I worked all the time and missed a lot of my oldest daughter, Bailey's childhood. And like my goal has always been for the last 6 years to not do that, uh, because we were, blessed to accidentally have a third child. And, in a time where I was working more on personal wellness. So that kind of like, I don't know, everything just kind of collided at the same time. Like starting my own business, working on my personal wellness journey, and having a third kid. It just, and of course COVID too. It just, all that kind of made me think more along the lines of like, what do I really want to be doing? And it's definitely, helped me in this moment right now, where it's like, do I want to take on all these calls for all these clients and get all this work and, make a ton of money right now? No, I don't. I really don't.
I
I
hear
want
you,
to be
man.
able to have a long weekend in Arizona whenever I want, and seeing my grandmother, uh, like even nailed it in the down even harder on me, is like, I really want to be able to like take a trip out there every 6 months. Like I told my wife that as we were driving out, I'm like, I don't want, the last years of her life to be, you know, where I don't see her every year, or I don't see her
Mhm.
every 6 months. And like low key, also, I want to see Brofit every 6 months too.
Of course.
It's
You
just so
little bro fit in
handsome.
your life.
Good morning, buddy.
We see you down there, man. Good morning.
Yeah,
Um, I miss
that's top priority, right?
yeah, for sure. It's a even with Brofa coming on right now, I remember when Brian and I were trying to get streams in there. I remember that it was I remember there's a point where again I didn't feel as authentic to myself because I felt like I was like pushing this like narrative or pushing, more wanting to get that message out there, wanting to kind of talk about parenting, wanting to talk more about like nutrition and fitness and movement and stuff like that. And there was a moment where I was like, man, the more I push, I think the further away from myself I'm really getting. And the same thing with the kids too. I feel like it's, when uh I was talking about this yesterday with Jason, where I know that during COVID and kind of like the a year and a half or so after COVID, I would say my business was in an incredible spot, and that's when
Yeah.
I started to kind of be like, okay, well, what do I do now? Do I hire people? Do I take on people? And listening to business coaches and stuff like that. But the more that you keep taking these ideas and wanting to grow, it takes you away from the things, I guess, here that matter that we're kind of talking about. And so what I had mentioned yesterday was that, it's almost like the more that I was making, because it wasn't intelligent money, I guess is what I would say. It was hard earned money, like getting out there, being in the DMs with people, right? It's like you're not really present with your family at that point. And then, I think within my business, I saw this like, this more of a lull. And I was like, well, the lull though had made me feel like I was a lot more present with my family. So it was kind of teaching me like where does that all come together? Because obviously I can't just say like, okay, just make less money, I'll be there for my family a little bit more. And because that's not the right way. But it was definitely something where it's like there needs to be some sort of understanding of kind of like when money kind of takes you away from your family, and that's a decision to make too. Like you might need to do that for the future though. So as long as your future planning is kind of set, and as long as you feel like you're doing well for your family, I think it's definitely a good spot to be in. um the last thing I would say is like what you know, kind of some things you were bringing up. I I remember I was talking to, who was I talking? Oh, I was talking with like one of my old colleagues who now owns a very successful uh, uh, what started as a practice, but now it's a full-on business because she has some like venture capitalists behind her, which is cool. Like she's changing the industry of like dietitians and all this kind of stuff. But I was asking her, I was like, hey, look, I just need some advice here. And I was kind of throwing some things at her. And I had realized that a lot of what I was trying to do, I was like trying to force my way through the obstacle, is how I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the book you gave me.
Hmm.
It still needs more attention. But the but the obstacle for me was that, okay, once I acquire enough clients and I'm making that money again that I was doing, then I can start to get even more creative and whatever else. And then, but when I was talking with her, I had realized how much the client acquisition side was really taking away from the things that mattered most. And in my head in the moment, I was thinking, is the freedom that I can really make my schedule day to day coming from the amount of effort that gets put out to get each of my clients, is it really bettering my life? And I had realized that this
Mm.
obstacle that was in my way that I kept trying to, get through, it was me not working intelligently enough to understand that, you know what? If what you really need to do is be better for yourself and your family, like don't go through the obstacle. Like you can definitely put the obstacle as another path later, but for right now, stop with that obstacle. And so like what this is basically what I'm getting to is like, and I've been doing this as like a reposition, is like, interviewing with some other opportunities where, I don't have to work as hard on that client acquisition piece. And so my mood and my presence and, happiness are all now, it gives me back so much more.
Yeah.
And I'm able to kind of spend it on my family. And I wouldn't that wouldn't have been a day one thought though. Like I needed to go through all those hard moments.
Yep. I mean, it definitely takes going through it, coming out the other end, making the mistakes, learning the lessons, uh, all of that. I mean, it's no different than parenting. Uh, um, so, uh, yeah.
For sure, man.
All right. What else? Let's see. I think I had a question here that I found somewhere. Let's see. I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick, and then you can talk whatever you want. But have you ever had to sacrifice or delay a career opportunity for the sake of your family, and how did it feel?
Can I ask you, where does this question come from? Is this from your head? Are you see it online? Are you chat GPTing a thought?
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT? Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel dirty when I tell people that I'm just chat GPTing most things. But
What's funny is I got
yeah,
my I got my wife hooked on it, and it's been really great. And it's been really fun because she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just chat GPT it." Like she actually just put in her resignation to her job this weekend slash last night using chat GPT, and she had so much fun doing it. And then the other thing was she her and Bailey applied, like she helped Bailey apply for a summer job, and they used chat GPT to like write up a resume or something like that. Even though she's like a high school kid, it's not like she has anything, but yeah, she's like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I just typed all this into chat GPT and it spit out a perfectly formatted resume for Bailey. And I'm like, yeah, it's the future. I'm glad you guys are
dude,
getting used to it and learning it, and like you're showing Bailey how to use it and all that stuff. Like I don't think of it as like her cheating on at life or homework or tests or anything like that. Like it just helps the mundane tasks like be a little bit easier, especially like formatting and stuff like that it can do, or quick calculations. Like the other day I was asking it like how to, if I have a party noon on Sunday and my pool is this big and my heater is this big, like how many hours would it take to heat my pool like uninterrupted if I turned my heater on? And it was like, turn your heater on at 4 a.m. and it'll be heated by the time your party is ready. And I'm like, sweet. So like, and it worked perfectly.
It's, you know, it is this weird moment, I think, within, I was going to say history. I don't even know what to say, but even as I was like looking for these opportunities that I had just mentioned, like I would look for opportunities and I knew what was good for me. But after talking with ChatGPT for a while, you know, and uploading myself, that's like the most important thing. I think when people are like thinking about how the ChatGPT works, like it is something, if you want it to think like you have to spend time with it. Like it is a job in itself to actually create what you need, and also being careful enough to know that whatever you input is really just going to spit back out, you know, it could end up turning into just like an echo chamber. So you do have to be aware. And I think that even, you know, prompting it with some of those challenge questions of like, hey, I've told you all of this, but what am I not possibly seeing? Or like, what would be a rebuttal? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's all. I think that's an important thing. But even within,
Underutilized for sure.
yeah, I think, and so, but I think that if we look at it as cheating, because I see a lot of people in my industry right now thinking it's like, well, that is cheating. It's not, you're not really then doing what you got to do. It's like, yeah, but all these calculations that we know, and like just specifically like creating a meal plan, like it's just like why are you doing it? Because other people are going to do it anyway. And I think that we are at this moment of seeing the difference between someone who understands how to use it effectively and efficiently and people who become scared of it or don't know how to use it, that there will be this big break. And, you know, hopefully people in my circle are going to keep using it effectively. So we'll see. But
Yeah. Um, some comments aren't popping up on my screen, so I can't post them. But Jason said his wife navigated her entire job transition and even her severance negotiations using GPT. That's awesome. I mean, and it also like I read somewhere. I think I was thinking about something else, but I was thinking about automated invoices and like accounts receivable or whatever. Like when you take the human aspect out of it, it makes it a little easier. So like if you take like the human aspect out of the job
100%.
transition and the severance, you know, like I told my wife, I'm like, just have Chat GPT like write the letter for you, because then it's not like you're getting
Take out
emotional
the
and
emotion.
personal.
Dude, great point.
And
Great
yeah,
point.
way easier.
That I think is huge. It's like sometimes we have to remain somewhat objective to get to the points that we need to then to, you know, use our emotions effectively, which I think is all about next month, right? Isn't it about like emotional intelligence?
Oh, I'm trying my hardest not to skip forward and look, but yes,
Ah, I'm so sorry. I'm
probably.
so sorry. I was going to ask you, do you want to bring up the topic for next month? And I felt that I cheated and I ended up and I had
It's
I
okay.
looked ahead. I didn't
We're
mean
gonna find
to. I'm
out
so
tomorrow.
sorry.
The rest of us will find out tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I just looked at it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's really fun because you can literally write write an emotional. You can write all your emotions into Chat GPT like a therapist, and you can say, "Hey, I have all this. I kind of want to say all this stuff, but can you make it more professional, less emotion, so it comes across, like, and it'll help transition all that stuff."
Yeah. Great tool.
I,
Great tool. We just
yeah,
gotta know how to use it, right?
100%, man.
All right. Is
All
it
right,
time to get the day started?
I think so, buddy. I think so. I think everybody needs to get their day started.
We love you all.
Yeah,
We didn't run through any gratitude, which I think would have been a great thing, but that's okay.
we'll just
But
double
take
down
a
tomorrow.
moment. We'll do it for sure. All right, man. Love you.
See you,
Talk
buddy.
to you
Have a
soon.
great day.
Bye.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll catch you later tomorrow in the morning.